So the night itself, these 2 nights, how did they come about? Was there rehearsal? Was there discussion? Do you recall how did that?
I remember, I guess we talked on the phone and then we decided on songs. And then we had one day of real rehearsal.
Yeah. I came down to Atlanta.
He came to Atlanta.
And we rehearsed in Atlanta the day before the show.
And then we did like a little bit at one sound check and a little bit at the other sound check. And that was virtually it. But at that time, we didn't vary the set list the way we do now. We only had a limited repertoire. So it was not a big deal for us to repeat songs like it has become. Now if we repeat songs, oh my God, they repeated something. It's like, so we did almost the same show both nights, maybe a couple of exceptions.
Since you brought it up, are there some nights that you would like to, like these days in this particular era, that you're like, dang, I'd like to play whatever it would be, or are you that you would always love to be that free if you could and had the repertoire?
I think the music's more fun when you haven't played a song in a while. There are certain songs that I don't get tired of playing, but I think they benefit from a little distance between now and the last time you played them. That's the way I feel about it.
I think it's a cool thing that the jam band scene has, because on our own we all want to have our show kind of together, but the scene has kind of required for bands like Gov't Mule to do different stuff, and I guess there's nothing like being fresh, and that's actually what we're all looking for playing,
But I know, like as an example, when you go in the studio, the early takes, if they're good, they're always the best
takes.
Shit,
yeah.
If you don't nail something in the first 2 or 3 takes, you got to get away from it and come back.
Yeah.
And John's probably had this same experience. If you do a great take in the studio and then somebody in the band or the producer or somebody says, well, let's do one more, you can bet the next one's going to suck because you just did a great take.
Yeah, if you know it's already done, yeah.
And you're just trying to remember what you just played that you liked and trying to recreate something that's already been done. And so now we have a kind of a rule of thumb. If we play a song at sound check and it sounds good, we don't play it that night because we feel like we just played it.
Yeah, that's a great way.
I'm curious, you talked about audiences, and I would just be interested, I think people would be interested to hear, just in terms of your ideal audience. Do you have a platonic ideal of an audience in your head, how you would like them to engage your music, respond to what you do on stage, or do you just sort of take it as it comes?
I like it when the audience loves it, and lets us know, and are listening.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some audiences that aren't quite there with you, I want them to be listening, and then go ahead, let us know.
A lot of times that has to do with the sound in the room. If the room sounds good, they tend to listen more. If it's really overly live and doesn't sound so good, they tend to party more and yell more. But when it sounds good, I think they get in tune to the music a little more. But I don't think you can ever predict when there's going to be a great audience. It just, it can be anywhere, anytime, and it's a beautiful thing because what we get from the audience steps the music up another notch that we're not really capable of. We don't have that notch. We have something else, but we don't have that energy that the audience gives you.
Do you find that over the years, just on this point, where increasingly, you have people who are there recording portions of the show on their phone, and it's like as if they're experiencing it themselves after the fact, retrospectively through their phones. They're not necessarily in the moment of the moment. Has that been distracting to you, or a consideration at all, or is it just something you look past and do?
There's so much distraction in our business for us to play these gigs. Between the sound can be weird. We're used to distraction, actually, and we get really good at not getting distracted. So some guy holding up his cell phone is not going to really make that much of a difference because you can't make music if you're going to be distracted by all the stuff that's going on these gigs,
Yeah. That's right. Otherwise, what's the point of playing in front of an audience? it's nice when you're playing a quiet moment for people to be quiet and listen, but in the event that they're not, you can't really get upset because they're there to escape everyday life, and you know, so maybe we take it a little more seriously, you know. The only thing that's annoying to me is when somebody's trying to talk to you while you're playing.
Oh, somebody in the audience?
Yeah. Say, hey, man. Excuse me?
I had some guy, I was playing in Philadelphia, and this guy is, you know, it's a standing audience in front of us, and this guy, you know, and Philadelphia is close to New Jersey. Not there's anything wrong with New Jersey, but this guy with a real kind of hey, in between twos, he's like, hey, yeah. And I'm like, first I don't look at him, then I look at him, and he goes, yeah, you. and I went like, what? And he goes, I love you. And then that was it, you know. But I thought he was going to beat me up. Yeah, you.
That could be a little weird.
Well, I notice like sometimes Warren, you'll look out. And if you see a face, a lot of times you'll give like a look, make eye contact, and smile at a particular person.
Well, who knew that we were going to see the same people in the audience? Yeah. Like, I guess I just always assumed every audience would be different. It's very bizarre when you look out and it's like, oh yeah, you again. I saw you last night and the night before and the night before that. And I think that's awesome. You know, I met a guy, I didn't actually meet him for the first time. I've met him before, but I spoke to a gentleman in Jamaica when we were just there. Said that was his 403rd Gov't Mule show.
Oh my God.
And it just, to this moment, freaks me out that people care enough to see something 403 times, you know. You know, so it's bizarre when you keep seeing the same faces, but it's nice too. It's like there's some comfort zone in that, I guess, you know. But, you know, a lot of times people, you know, even your friends and your family go, oh, did you see me? Like, sometimes you can't see anything but, you know, glare and lights.